How's it hanging, everybody? Welcome to a very special General Hospital Envy. It is the Nurses Ball After Show 2018. We will be discussing all things Nurses Ball related. We are ranking the performances from least to greatest, and we are talking about the best dressed and all the highlights and the lowlights. But before we do that, there were some things that happened just before the Nurses Ball that we should probably touch base on. As you guys know, before the Nurses Ball began, Nell fell down the stairs. Unfortunately, Carly got arrested because Nell stated that she was pushed. Does it surprise me? No, absolutely not. Am I mad that Nell got the upper hand? Kinda, sorta, but I have to give her props. Either way, Jason and Spinelli are on the case trying to find evidence against Nell to prove that Carly is innocent in this matter. We just gotta get through the Nurses Ball and the Heinrich stuff and everything else first. Carly, you might be in there for a minute. Now, the Nurses Ball isn't without its cheap gimmicks. Of course, I had the guy from The Bachelor hosting the red carpet. The red carpet, man, always just confuses me. Like, these people, no offense to any of them, are nobodies, and there is a red carpet special with a bunch of celebrity guests hosting it. It's super corny, but at least they all looked great. Before we start ranking the performances, let's talk about the best dressed and the worst dressed. The best dressed obviously goes to the hostess with the mostest, Lucy Coe, in all of her dresses. Not a single Nurses Ball goes by without her looking good. Worst dress? I'm sorry, girl, it goes to you, Anna Devane. What were you wearing? It was absolutely tragic. I feel bad, man. My honorable mentions are Sam McCall and Elizabeth Weber. They looked fantastic during the ball too. I think the coolest gimmick during the Nurses Ball was that they actually had Carla from the Chew appear on it as Cook 2. They finally showed a face of Cook 2, and it belonged to a celebrity chef. I tip my hat to you. It was a pretty cute side story with Olivia and Cook 2. They've had a bit of a banter off screen because Cook 2 does not want anyone in her kitchen, but Olivia desperately needed her help because she forgot to get the chef from the Metro Court to cater the Nurses Ball somehow. Don't ask me how. Either way, by the end of the Nurses Ball, they loved her cooking. I'm not sure where they would have put the plates because those tables at the Nurses Ball were so tiny they could probably fit just one plate on it. But I digress. Either way, Cook 2 is now moving on to bigger and better things, which means that Olivia gets the Quartermaine kitchen all to herself. I'm glad the Italian mama, Olivia, gets to be in a kitchen. God knows that must have been painful living there without being able to set foot in it at all. Alright, now it's time to rank the Nurses Ball performances from least to greatest. There are 10 in total, and I use the number 10 very lightly because one of them wasn't really an act, it was kind of a WTF moment on the show. So let's talk about it. At number 10, it was Alexis winning an award randomly at the Nurses Ball. A plot point if I ever saw one. That plot point being the agenda to push Anna and Finn when no one but the writers want it. The writers seem to have it in their heads that because Anna had some pretty decent chemistry with John McBain, played by Michael Easton, that Michael Easton's other character, Finn, would have the same amount of chemistry. Yeah, not so much. It's like that Todd Carly Franco situation all over again. Just plain wrong. Alright, at number 9 we have the Nurses opening number to Everyday People, Different Strokes, Different Folks. You know the song. I gotta say, I always expect the opening number to be cheesy, but I was just cringing the entire time. I thought it was terrible. I know that I might be in the minority, but I thought it was kind of awful. Though the Nurses make up for it later, and I'll get to that performance when I get to the number that it's on, and I'm not telling you till you watch. Coming in at number 8, we have Jocelyn and Oscar performing a song called I Never Knew, which I'm pretty sure is an original. Gotta say, I thought that we'd see Oscar performing a little bit more. Jocelyn pretty much took over the vocals and we heard him kind of whispering in the background. But we know he's got some pipes because we've seen him do a number for his mother on Mother's Day. Off-screen GH. In real life, guaranteed. But I do have a soft spot for Jocelyn and Oscar, so I liked it. Speaking of love, at number 7 we have Curtis and Nina performing a magic act so that Jordan could get proposed to by Curtis. Yeah, it's another typical gimmick for the Nurses Ball, but it was cute. And you guys, she said yes! Now obviously, Curtis's aunt Stella was not amused by it, but Mike put her in her place just a little bit, so she kind of backed down. Coming in at number 6, we got What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding with Ned and Olivia, the mayor and the first lady. You guys, I have always been a sucker for Eddie Main. He may not don the leather pants anymore, but he's still got some pipes on him. And Olivia is just so cool as this retro sort of go-go girl in the background. I thought it was absolutely perfect for them, and I love seeing Ned and Olivia perform together at the Nurses Ball ever since last year. Very retro, very cool. And yes, my friends, retro is cool. At number 5, we have Valentine and the Book of Love. I may not like Valentine Cassadine at all, but James Patrick Stewart has some good pipes on him and he can play the piano. And honestly, I would swoon if he was anyone but Valentine. Although I'd say the best part of his performance was the fact that he got punched out by Robert Scorpio, and we'll talk about that more a little bit later on. At number 4 we have Detective Chase with Feel It Still. You know, that Rebel Just for Kicks song that everybody knows and loves. As you guys know, Dante played a prank on him that made him think that all the police department was performing at the nurses' ball. Turns out it was just him. And I'm pretty sure the audience was super okay with that. In addition to being completely gorgeous, he's not a bad singer at all, and he's got some dance moves on him too. Dante tried to play him, but unfortunately Dante, you played yourself, because he's actually pretty talented. Coming in at number 3, we got Ava Jerome and her performance of You Don't Own Me, which apparently was a very spontaneous number that she pulled off in 30 seconds with a whole new dance routine and something completely opposite of what she planned to do. Gotta love that nurses ball magic. Now obviously Ava is not one of the most likable people in Port Charles, but I thought that that performance was very her. The song was very her, and the shade she was throwing at Sunny was very her. I suppose the only thing I didn't like about it was the fact that it was out of jealousy towards her daughter and her boyfriend. When are you gonna learn that they do not like each other in that way? They're just friends, let it go. You should probably pay less attention to Kiki and Griffin and more attention to the doctor that seems to be lurking around every corner from her. Alright, coming in at number 2, we have the nurses once again with the closing number called Champions, I think. It was another original number for the nurses ball, and I believe that means officially they have retired You Are Not Alone, and I'm kind of relieved about it. I thought it was a very beautiful number. I got a little bit teary, and of course all the nurses looked and sounded fantastic. Definitely the perfect way to end the show. Now coming in at number 1 was something completely unexpected. Hell has frozen over because Sunny Corinthos has performed at the nurses ball. Finally, after decades. It was actually an impromptu performance by his father Mike, who was going through Alzheimer's, as you know, and he pulled it off pretty great until he started forgetting the words. He was in his head imagining a band behind him in addition to the piano that was already there, and he lost track of everything. There was a really heartbreaking moment of silence where everyone was just looking at him with concern, and he was very scared on stage, and Sunny decided to get on up there and finish the song with him. Gotta say, as much as I love the performances of the nurses ball over the past few years, this was very classic old school nurses ball, so it was great to see. It was very heartwarming and also, again, very unexpected because Sunny. But it was hands down my favorite moment of the nurses ball, honestly, in the last few years. So those are my picks. Let me know your picks down below and what order you would put the nurses ball performances in. I think that we can all collectively agree that Alexis deserves to be at number 10, because why? The fact that a lawyer would get an award at the nurses ball makes 0 sense at all. Stupid plot point. Now of course these days on GH, if there's a nurses ball, that means that there is some attached drama to it. Maxie Jones went into labor while being driven home by Peter, who is really Heinrich, and gave birth to her baby boy. Just to sprinkle on a little bit of backstage news, Ryan Pavey, who played Nathan, actually made a tweet about the birth of Nathan's baby. What a good guy. Even in the afterlife, he is congratulating his wife. Of course, the other major story is that Heinrich's identity has officially been revealed to all the people looking for him, including Jason, Sam, Spinelli, and Anna. The only person left out still at this point is Drew at the time of me recording this, which is Tuesday morning. During the nurses ball, we saw that Robert was being held captive, and then we seen him kind of collapse in his captivity, and the next thing you know, he was appearing at the nurses ball and punching Valentine's lights out. Again, a great highlight from this ball this year. He deserved that punch. Nina is definitely not thrilled that Valentine knew Heinrich's identity. You know, her brother's brother. I'm actually kind of looking forward to watching Nina and Valentine's relationship unravel, and it better unravel. It's about half past time that she saw Valentine for who he really is. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. That about wraps up this nurses ball review. I just have one last question. What was the point of the llama? I thought for sure he'd be a part of someone's number, but he wasn't at all. He was kind of just backstage, and he did walk the carpet with Lucy Coe, much to Nina's dismay, but there was no other point to it. Kind of awkward, kind of weird, unexpected, not really a gimmick that I understood. But hey, shout out to Dutch the llama for, you know, showing up. Go off, I guess. Alright, that's a wrap. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big ol' thumbs up and subscribe if you guys want to. I do General Hospital reviews every week, so thank you for tuning in. I will catch you guys next time.